Hey, this is Canada Rising. We're here with Tom Price. This is your host Eric today, and we're going to be talking more about the city of Sudbury and some civic engagement. Tom has been a long-time advocate, civic advocate for Sudbury. He was saying he was been writing letters to the city since the 1970s, so he's got quite an inside perspective. And as Bob Johnston told us last week, he's got all the facts and all the numbers.
A lot of them.
A lot of them. So.
Yes.
I just kind of wanted to start this off, like maybe tell us a bit about yourself, Tom, like how you got into civic engagement in Sudbury and what really provoked you into wanting to help change the city.
Well, it started long before the city was the city of Greater Sudbury. As you indicated in 1970, that was even before regional government.
Mm-hmm.
But local government at the time, I worked in an industry of engineering and project management and that type of thing, where everything that you state has to be factual and provable.
Right.
Okay? And if it isn't factual and provable, then you're going to have a disaster on your hands. And so when I saw things going on that weren't factual and weren't provable, I took exception to them in the form of writing a letter either to the paper or to the present government at the time to say, hey, whoa, this isn't right. If you want to have good government, the people that are in the government positions have to be honest. They have to be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And when they tell you something, the reasons for doing a project or doing what they're doing has to be transparent. It has to be obvious to the people who are affected by it. And, well, as you know, and everybody watching probably knows, the reasons for what's being done these days in government is not transparent. We don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. And they offer no explanation as why. Just recently, back in February, or after February, I guess. No, I'm sorry, it was after Mr. Cicuti, it was in February. Mr. Cicuti made a presentation to council.
Mm-hmm.
We sent a letter to council and to the mayor by registered mail asking for an opportunity to sit down with the team and answer some of our concerns. They never even responded.
Right, they just ghosted you guys.
They just ghosted us and they still haven't responded. So we keep on writing the letters, and there's I think somebody said that there was the actions of a criminal is when you're called out, you discredit the individual who's calling you out. So that's what they do. They start rumors that we're lying about numbers.
Yeah, they try to make you paint you as crazy people, right? So that
Exactly.
at least everybody in the city will try not to listen to you, and then everybody just writes it off as random banter.
Yeah. They're old people. They don't know what they're talking about. We've got new ways of doing it.
And when you don't take accountability, when you don't push for transparency, you don't audit these budgets, people get away with a lot. And that's where, like you were saying, when you learn in civil engineering, that's where lives get lost, essentially, to a lot of different types of disasters. It can go right down a whole chain.
Absolutely. And if in project management, if you mess up on budgeting, your whole project's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, we were told on September the 30th by one councillor that we do not have an estimate yet for the event center. Excuse me, we've approved $225 million worth of work with no estimate. They've already spent $50 million of that with no estimate.
Mm-hmm.
And this is responsible, transparent government? Not at all.
Well, they try to say that this has been a more transparent government than Brian Bigger's mayoralship, right? At least
Okay.
a lot of places have been trying to paint and frame it, but you and Bob expressed completely different numbers. And last week when we were on with Bob, we were primarily talking about like Energy Court, the homeless encampment downtown, the event center, but he wanted to defer to you a lot on the numbers. Where do you pull your numbers from?
City documents.
Just straight up from the city documents?
Yeah, it's on the internet.
And they probably affix more of a, I guess they pick and choose how they want to present this information. And
Well, a good example is, and everybody I'm sure is familiar with their claim of $200 million
mm-hmm.
for the event center. Well, that's a construction cost. That's not the cost to taxpayers.
Right.
That's the contractor's cost that he will be billing the city for. But that's not the cost to you and I as taxpayers. The cost to you and I as taxpayers also includes interest on that money that's used to pay the contractor.
Mm-hmm.
And they've borrowed that money. So that's money that is costing us, taxpayers. That's what they should be being transparent about.
Right.
It doesn't matter. If they can build it for 50 million, if that cost to us is still the 389 million that they've borrowed, including interest, then that's the cost to us. That's what we have to repay. They are responsible to us, and just telling us the construction cost is meaningless.
Right, and that level of accountability, not it being accountable for the full price of the project, that is to the taxpayers, is essentially just lying to us so they can get their fluff through and push their projects. Even though, whenever I bring this topic up online, there's a lot of negative reception around building the event center downtown. A lot of people seem to have wanted the KED, and then a good portion still want to revive downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's a good plan to reconcile those two? Like, what would you have suggested for the event center?
Well, there is no plan at all. So I'm not sure what you mean by asking that question, because if there is no plan, how can I comment on it?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Now, well, let's go back to the $200 million, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The $200 million, first of all, is not an estimate, and they've stated that.
Mm-hmm. It's a hard figured out.
No, it's not hard.
Sorry, it was an estimate, is what you said.
No, it wasn't an estimate.
Sorry, very hard of hearing.
Yeah. No. In February, when Mr. Chakouty stated that it was $200 million, and then council in the same meeting approved borrowing of $225 million.
Right.
Who do you believe? Okay?
Right.
There's $225 million right there, not including interest. That's just for the construction cost. Okay? Now, if you throw the interest on top of that, it's $389 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty close to $400 million. And that doesn't include all of the off-site work. And the off-site work will push it well over $500 million.
That would be fabrication, ordering, anything that they need.
No. This is stuff, that's part of the construction.
Right.
But what do you have to do to the roads to get to it?
Right.
The contractor doesn't include that in his price because that's not in the scope. What do you have to do to the water supply? What do you have to do to the sewer drainage? What do you have to do to the...
See, I actually thought that would all be part of the scope of the project.
Only from the project boundary in. And for example, on the Kingsway, the cost out there assumed power to their plant or to their arena. But how do you get it there? That would have required new power lines from Martindale Station on Maley Drive all the way over to the Kingsway and a transformer station.
Right.
That cost wasn't included in their $200 million bid, or $217 million bid.
So this is really poor oversight.
Well, they're not included. They're assuming the city's going to pay for it. Well, that would be Sudbury Hydro.
Yep.
Would pay for running that power line and that transformer station, and they would recover their costs of the power rates. But that initial cost has to be repaid out of those power rates. That's a cost to taxpayers.
And there's no deal there. You're saying they're basically expecting Sudbury Hydro to subsidize a project like that.
No, because Sudbury Hydro will get it paid back out of the project.
Yeah, that's what I mean, essentially by subsidize.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
So, when you're dealing with it in that manner, who's being honest? Who's being dishonest?
Mm-hmm.
Maley Drive was another good one. Oh yeah, the Maley Drive cost was going to be $80 million. They got, or 60 or no, it was 80 million. They got money from the province, money from the federal government, and the city put in money. Well, that's all our money.
Mm-hmm. Actually, let's go back to that project for a minute, because that was one of the projects that Mayor Paul Fab had a lot of photo ops for. And I've there was a lot of mixed reviews on that entire project as well. Bob was saying something last week about the city basically having confiscated a lot of that land to be able to do it.
Yes.
So what do you know about the Maley Drive construction that we could break into? Maybe that's a little more foresight into how this project downtown is going to go.
Well, they ended up not running the highway where it was supposed to go, and they ran it over private property.
Right, and this is why we had those sound complaints up by just the start of Highway 69.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the residents there complaining about how they pulled the ramps into their backyards and
Yep.
there were no sound barriers, nothing.
And Maley Drive has no sound barriers. They were in the original scope of work, but they were taken out during the construction.
Okay.
Why? Well, they had to stay within budget. Well, okay. Did they have a budget?
That's a good question. I was a lot younger when they were starting that expansion, so I wasn't really into civic engagement like I am now. And even now, I'm still pretty hazy on numbers and everything.
Well, quite
So
frankly, they keep talking, the city keeps talking, the budget for the event center is, they don't have a budget.
They're just going until it's done.
A budget is made as a cost estimate that you comply with, that you stay within those boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have an estimate, so how can they have a budget?
Right.
If you don't know what it's going to cost, you can't budget. How do you budget for a car that you don't know what you're buying? And obviously you can't. You may be buying a Volkswagen Bug or you may be buying a Cadillac.
Yeah.
But if you don't know which one you're buying, you can't make a budget for it.
And there's dramatic differences in prices there.
No kidding. And we saw that on the Kingsway. It started off at $60 million, then it went to $100 million, and when they got a bid on it, it was $217 million.
Right.
Did they have a budget? No. They had no clue of what it was going to cost. If they did, they would have had at least $200 million in their top.
Right.
And they didn't. So we still don't have an estimate. September the 30th, Councillor Perron on CKLU radio stated that we do not have an estimate. Because I asked him, is the $200 million now a Class D estimate? He said, well, no, we don't have an estimate. We're 10 years into this event center, and we don't have an estimate?
I didn't even realize it's 10 years now. Oh my God.
Started in 2015.
Yeah. Once you said it, it was like, oh my God, time flies.
And in 2015, it was going to be $60 million for the developer.
Right.
It'd be owned by the developer.
And that was when it was still being considered for the KED, right?
Yes. And the developer indicated that there would be $500,000 a year in property taxes coming to the city if he got to build his $60 million event center. Okay?
Right.
Well, now we're at well over 200 million, and including interest, and it's now going to the taxpayers instead of to the developer being paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
So the cost increase on that project from the beginning has been 389 million. Who knows that? They keep talking the construction cost. Well, the construction cost is just part of it. Like, I've been in project management I've been in engineering for over 60 years. And project management for probably 45 of those years, maybe even more than that. If I ever tried to get a project approved without including the cost of money, I wouldn't have been working for the company I was working for. I'd have been out on my heels. Okay, because you've got to repay that money.
Yeah, that leads me to a question. So do you think it's incompetence? Do you think it's malice? Do you think it's greed? How did we get here?
There's 10 different methods of getting here, and they've used every one of them. Okay, I've published articles on that from well-respected organizations in the world, okay, in the paper. And the first one is strategic misrepresentation. They deliberately misrepresent the cost at less than it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's not unusual because within some variance, but how do you know at the beginning what it's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, some of our media in Sudbury will definitely fight you on that one, Tom. They have before.
Yeah, so what? They, if I don't have an estimate, which they've stated, Mr. Ducuti stated that they didn't have a Class D estimate
Mm-hmm.
in February. Mr. Pradon repeated that on September the 30th, that they don't have an estimate. Okay. Well, how can you measure anything?
And just this last council meeting on the 21st, probably no mentions of any estimate still.
No.
Bob was saying you don't even go to council meetings anymore, so they won't
No.
even hear you out.
Well, there's no sense in me going because it's all nonsense.
Right.
Like, they just gather to say, yes, we're approving this, yes, we're approving that, yes. Where's the debate? Have you heard any debate in recent council meetings?
No, not at all. It's one of the things I was excited to see pushed for, and people don't really stand up to get time to debate.
Well, they don't take time.
Yeah, they don't really take the time to hear people out.
They can't debate it anyway because if you ask them questions that mean anything, they don't have an answer.
And they just let you go until your time's out, and they let you walk away. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is government. It's not according to anything about government that I'm aware of. This is just people on a joy trip to build what they want to build. And that build, they've had 3 reports now on the event center, okay? Every one of those reports, including the staff portion of the final one in April for 2024, all predicted future attendance at a level that would not require any expansion of our attendance capability.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that were all less than 4,750 seats. That's what they predicted in their reports. So how do we get to 5,800?
That's another extra 1,500 seats basically on top of our initial arena now,
Exactly.
and then.
So who established
I
that?
heard Dario Zulich didn't even sign off on a deal for the Sudbury Five or the Sudbury Wolves to play there yet.
No. Why would he?
It's going to be the only place, really, but.
Like, if I was a company going to do business with the city, I wouldn't sign off on it. I have no idea what the rates are going to be yet.
Fair enough.
Okay? So, but as I say, you know, you can, I guess you can guess your way through life, but it's a pretty rough road if you do.
It's foreboding, too, because, I mean, what would that mean for our sports teams in Sudbury if they don't have a home?
They do have a home already.
Right now, if we were able to revitalize the center that we do have, but they plan on tearing it down, right?
But why would you tear it down?
That is the question.
I mean, it's in good shape. There's nothing structurally wrong with the building. Okay, it needs a bit of facelifting, so what?
So you think the process of the current event center that's being planned could still be stopped?
Listen, I worked on a project, it was my project, back in 1974-75. At that time it was worth over 300 million. That would be 3.2 billion today.
Okay.
Okay? In 75, the market dropped out of the nickel market. The bottom dropped out of the nickel market. We canceled the project. We had the equivalent of today dollars of 150 million already spent. When the market isn't there, are you going to go ahead and spend the rest of that?
Any bank would slap your wrist and call you a fool for doing it.
Absolutely. So would your shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
Your shareholders would be up in a revolt. We'll take the loss. We wrote off. Well, in that time it was about $20 million out of the 300 million. We wrote off that as a loss. We pulled in our horns and we waited till the market got better to go ahead with the project.
Right.
And we did eventually go ahead with the project. And that project is just being completed today. Okay? Because you can only build as technology allows you to.
Right.
If technology doesn't support what you're doing, in a manner that makes you able to pay for what you're doing, then you're not going to do it.
Yeah, technology's essentially made everything more cost efficient, so that's where that comes in, right?
Well, you're talking computer technology, I'm talking true technology. And we've bastardized technology to the point where people only think of computers as technology.
It's true. I study a lot of theology, and one of my first claims here is that language was actually our first technology.
No,
Well, other than the spearhead, right?
no.
What are you thinking?
That.
Oh, the hand.
No.
Using the hand as a tool.
Do you know what it is?
What do you?
What is that?
It's the makings of your own work. Yeah.
No. That's the first digital computer. 3 digits plus 2 digits is 5 digits. In the decimal system, there's your 10 digits.
Right.
And that's how they counted. Or 3 apples and 2 apples make 5 apples.
Numbers, mathematics.
Okay? Go back right to the caveman. I'll trade you 2 rabbits for 14 apples. Well, what's 2 rabbits? Well, that's 2 rabbits. But I want 14 apples in exchange for those 2 rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
That's digital computing. They did it on their digits. Right? This is your
The
index
etymology
digit.
there makes it pretty interesting, yeah.
Okay, now, we've been using that technology since people began trading. Many hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing new in it. The only thing that's changed is we've gone to the binary system instead of the decimal system for computers because the electronics can't handle the decimal system.
Yeah, it overloads their processing capabilities.
Well, the electronics is just a simple switch. It's either on or off.
Mm-hmm.
If it's on, it's a 1. If it's off, it's a 0. And that's the binary system. It's zeros and ones. Everything in the computer is stored as a 0 or a 1.
Mm-hmm.
The switch is either closed or open. Okay? Now, I see stuff that the past generations didn't know about this. We're into high tech now, and no, we're not. That technology's been around, the binary system's been around since the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
The decimal system from time when men were trading goods.
Even quantum computing is only just kind of figuring out human things that humans have been doing forever.
Yeah. So
Just by nature.
So let's forget about the technology because the technology has been there forever. We haven't invented anything new since, my good Lord, I don't think we ever have. We discover new things, but we haven't invented any new things.
It's essentially from the day you're born, everything's already public domain.
Well, it's either public domain or it's already there in nature.
Yeah.
And all we do is we take it and modify it to do what we want to do. Now, we like to, we like to take kudos and say, well, we've invented that. We've invented the camera that is filming us right now.
Yeah.
No, we haven't. We've built it.
You
Everything
discovered
in
the
that camera
processes.
is part of a natural process. Okay? So, now I realize that that's getting pretty pedantic. It's getting back to the very basics. But when you do things and you try to solve problems, you have to get to the basics in order to solve it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't otherwise. If people are sick, and several people have headaches, severe headaches, okay, do you solve that by saying, okay, here's some aspirins, take the aspirins, your headache will go away? Or do you find out what's causing all those people the headache before you decide to solve it? And if they're in a select group, you better find out what's causing it to them all before you try to solve it, because taking the aspirins may kill them.
The sad thing about that example is nowadays it depends on the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
There's no actual care for the process in that nowadays. People just want the results.
Right.
It's a gratification-driven culture.
Yeah. And more you hear about people giving wrong medication. Well, somebody didn't do their homework in analyzing it.
Mm-hmm.
And medicine in itself is a guessing game, but still you can guess intelligently or you can guess stupidly. And if you don't go back to the base cause, you're doing it stupidly. And in in the engineering field, there's a very simple process for making sure you have a good project. You have cause and effect.
Yeah.
You either have an effect that you're trying to solve, in which case you have to know the basic cause of it. Or you want to create an effect, so what do you have to do to cause that effect?
Right.
It's just that simple. If I want to build a chair, well, I know what the effect is. Now, what do I have to cause to happen to get that effect?
You gotta get out of the chair you're in to go get all the stuff and
Right.
Yeah.
But you got to go back to the base case. We don't do that anymore at all in anything.
well, especially for civics.
No. And it, like as I said a while ago, we have 3 reports that indicate that there's no need, and city staff is one of those reports. I'm sorry, we have 4. We have 2 from PricewaterhouseCoopers, 1 from Brisbane Bainin, and the city endorsement of those 3, plus they added their own version of part of the last one. But they all say that there's no attendance potential for the event center. So you don't have the cause.
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody wants to go downtown right now, and that comes to the next part. Like, why would they think this is going to be a medicine for the downtown core?
Won't be. In fact, I have a report based on 130 different economists' work, studies, that indicates that there are no benefits for an event center to a municipality. In fact, there is damage. And everybody at the city, I'll guarantee this, you can go and ask them and they'll tell you that, well, yeah, but I'm not considering the non-tangibles, the intangible effects, the good feeling people get. Okay? Yes,
From
they
seeing
did.
it in the city and clog up the skyline.
Yeah, but yes, they did consider that. If somebody took the time to get that report and read it, in the report, and I've read it, it talks about the intangibles and how they measured the intangibles. And the intangibles don't create the benefit people are bragging that they will get.
Yeah.
Okay? Now that's 130 reports by qualified economists. Okay? In addition to that, some other that's for big event centers and small. A bunch of other economists studied 328 municipalities about minor sports. And they found the same thing. There was no justification for an event center for those minor sports. If something already existed, you could make a profit or you could get a benefit to the community.
Right.
And it didn't always have to be money.
I gotta stop you, there was a bit of a hiccup here. Sorry. Connection was dropped. I think it just reconnected. Yes.
We'll be able to piece it back together. We still have the audio.
See, now that's the technology that we gave to you guys, the younger generation. We're not very reliable.
And just to have a conversation, we definitely don't need it, but just to get the conversation out nowadays, that's where the hiccup comes in. And like I said earlier, it's never been more important for us to get the message of the older generations out.
Let me know when you're ready.
There's only so much time left before the next election, and there's only so much time left before people truly give up, I think. And nobody knows enough about what's going on other than the upper echelons and the inner circles.
Okay, I'm gonna let you know too. Did you bring a cord for this by chance? Okay, so it's at 23% for that. I can resume the recording as soon as you're ready. You guys are on the event center. You good?
Yeah, go ahead.
3, 2, 1.
And yeah, coming back to the event center, it's not really going to be a medicine for downtown as a core. So, where do you think we go with this from here? Like, try to push them to stop the event center? Do we? Because that's been done for about 10 years now. They moved it from the KED to downtown, and I don't really see an alternative at this point. When it comes down to community engagement, you said there's no demand for these bigger and smaller event centers in communities just across Canada, across North America, I guess was for that study, the world. So it really comes down to community engagement. It's like if there's going to be a demand for these things, it's going to come out of the people, right?
Yeah.
And so let the people bring community efforts towards it. But you have to stimulate that first.
Well, you first of all have to determine what effect you're trying to create. Okay? And the effect that we can see that people are trying to create is they want a big structure. There's no other purpose that they've identified. Well, does it matter whether it's an arena or a cooling tower or a car? If it's a big structure, it'll keep them happy? Because that's the only effect they've identified, is a bigger arena.
Yeah, to no real gain.
So, what is the cause of needing that? Is there a true cause of you're short of seating? Well, apparently, according to the reports, no.
No.
Is the cause that the older one is decrepit and needs to be demolished? Not at all.
Yeah, it could be revitalized, right?
Oh, easily. All you're talking about is window dressing.
Right.
The structure is sound. Like, a lot of people today don't understand that during the time in the 1950s when that got built, and you can take a look at this on Frood Road, the old Inco building that's now an accountant firm in there, is built the same way the arena was. They're built like bomb shelters.
Right.
Okay? There's nothing wrong structurally. So if you want to change how it looks, you can take a lesson from Ford Motor Company. They bought a sound building in Detroit recently in the last few years that was a sound structure, and they remodeled it to be their headquarters, new head offices. So Ford Motor Company is now in a repurposed building in Detroit.
Okay.
Their head offices. What's wrong with the structure we have? Nothing. So, as I say, cause and effect. The effect you want is more seats. Okay, well, what's the cause of that? You're going to have bigger crowds coming to these? Well, they predicted that no, the crowds are going to be well handled within the existing.
It would have benefited for Elton John when he came.
Why?
He would have been able to get more guests guaranteed, but
But so what?
how many people like that are we actually going to have coming through Sudbury?
Well, in their predictions, they predict one a year.
One major event a year. And then would that offset the cost over 30 years of...
Not a chance. Not a chance.
So unless you're getting like the biggest blockbuster hit every year, I doubt it.
You're not going to get it.
5,800 seats, it wouldn't even do it.
And the city has recognized you're not going to get it. Their own documents state that they're not going to get it. Okay? The documents from 2 consulting companies say you're not going to get it. We have a downtown revitalization thing on the go right now. The report on that says that's not going to happen. There's no reason for it to happen.
Right.
Didn't they read the report? And that part of that report was presented with the report in April of 2024 by President Brooke Bainan. And it states unequivocally in there that, first of all, none of the local developers want to work with the city if they are developed in that downtown area.
Right. I noticed a lot of businesses are planning already leaving. Like I seen Pepe Panini's up for sale recently, if I recall.
Yeah. So that was stated in 2019 in this report. Okay. On top of that, external developers to the city were only interested if the city was involved to take the major risks. that means the taxpayers would take the risk.
Yeah.
So if none of the developers are prepared to take the risk of doing that, why would we do it? Why are we into it? Why are they buying all these properties?
Mm-hmm.
None of the developers want to work with the city except external developers who will take the risk, because they recognize the local developers know there's a big risk if the city's involved.
Yeah, and then the outside developers can, well, the risk they get, well, the benefit they get is being able to change something entirely on their own.
So who do we have involved in all this?
Yeah, who are the outsiders? Where's the money go?
Well, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Brook Bainin, Brisbane Bainin, they're all outsiders. There's no local. We had a proposal by Tim James of Third Line Studios, architectural firm here in town, to refinish or repurpose the existing arena for $60-some million.
Mm-hmm.
The city wouldn't even consider it. Why not? Is that government? I mean, at $60 million compared to $400 million?
Did you know anything about these other companies that the city's opted to go with?
Oh, of course. PricewaterhouseCoopers, an accounting company.
Okay.
Brisbane Brook Bainin is an architectural firm. What do architects do? They build beautiful or design beautiful buildings.
Plan.
Have they ever paid for one out of their own pocket? No.
No, they usually do it for everybody else, right?
Okay, somebody else pays the bill. And that somebody else in this case is you, me, and every other taxpayer in the city.
Right.
Okay? PricewaterhouseCoopers, have they ever paid for one of their own? Well, only with somebody else's money, because they were primarily an accounting company. Now they've got an architectural arm, because the architectural arm helps them sell projects where they can take money from us.
Do you know where they're based out of, or?
I don't know offhand, but it's not in Sudbury.
Right. I'm just wondering where the chain of money moves to. Is it staying in Canada, or does it even go even further than that? Does it go outside to foreign investment?
90% of it will always go to foreign. It goes to the big banks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then up the chain from there.
Who are you borrowing the money from? That's where it's going to.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, 80% of the construction cost will be interest on that, of the total cost. 80% will be construction. I'm sorry, 80%. I got that all wrong. Sorry. I measure it in terms of truckloads of loonies. Okay. The construction cost for the event center will take 10 truckloads, 150-ton mining truckloads full of loonies, okay, to build it, construction. The interest on it will be 8 truckloads of loonies. So 8 and 10 makes 18, but there's 8 in interest and 10 in the actual building.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Can we afford to give all that money to the banks? To the investors, people who want to make money off our pockets?
And not in our community at all.
And not in our community. And on top of all that,
It was funded by a credit union. That'd be an upgrade, right?
we're going to do all that, but we can't afford money to deal with our homeless and our people that are out of work.
Yeah. And that's one of the big problems that Bob brought up last week. It's like we're focusing on this big event center, but look at Energy Court, it's tatters, and look at the people surrounding it. They're basically, dying and disappearing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is precedent for that. Are we just about out?
Just about out of battery. Well, we'll run till we can.
Oh, okay.
I know we're going to be planning on talking again shortly, so we'll be able to get a little more organized for the next time we chat.
Okay, well,
1 second, really quick. I have it paused. Just a suggestion, if you wanted to, mostly you guys have been talking about the event center. If you guys wanted to cover that, like, basically close off that topic for the recording, you guys can keep talking, and then you can revisit other topics on subsequent visits.
Yeah.
If that's an idea, it's your your direction, just a thought.
Well,
Anyway.
ultimately, the goal is to get Tom here to rant about the city, so anything he wants to go on about.
Well, I could go on about almost anything because it is so bad now.
I'm gonna resume here.
Okay, the city currently talks about, and the mayor of Lefebvre has mentioned that we're in crisis.
Yeah.
But he's only talking about the homeless crisis. And why is that a crisis? Well, the reason it's a crisis is because it's embarrassing and it's limiting how they can get potential to build downtown.
Yeah, otherwise they probably wouldn't say anything about it and they just let it continue.
Well, and they do, because what they're doing is trying to move them out of that area so it's not visible. They're not talking about curing it.
Yeah, like we were talking about, like what happened when they first put Tom Davies there. It's just gentrification of the area all over again.
Well, that's interesting because Tom Davies Square was built on the same promises as that we're hearing right now.
Yeah, it's just eerily reminiscent.
Yeah, I have the proposal. It was a copy of the proposal in 1973 that gave all the benefits of having this Tom Davies Square and what it was going to accomplish. It would bring together the municipal government in the same building as the provincial government, and where's the provincial government now? They've been moving out of the TD Square.
Yeah.
Okay? It hasn't accomplished it.
No, and amalgamation had a lot of promises there to make the city better just as a whole, but a lot of the outlying areas just complained.
Well, the biggest problem is prior to amalgamation, and especially amalgamation, but partially in regional government, we switched from managers to administrators.
Right.
And administrators cannot effectively, efficiently manage an operation because they don't have the know-how to manage.
No, they administrate.
Exactly.
They have a specific set of things that they have to accomplish, and they don't have the ability to flex.
If it isn't in the book, we don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The manager looks at the situation and says, well, we got to do this, this, and this to fix it. Do it. The administrator says, well, we need some alternatives here. Why do you need alternatives? Because you don't know how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's a study done a number of years back about fire chiefs and how they make a decision at a fire. And the guy spent many, many dollars studying how important decisions get made. In the end, he came up with this theory and everything else. So then he decided to test it out using fire chiefs and fire responders. So he went out and he studied a number of different fire departments, and what he found was that there are no critical decisions made. When a situation arose, the fireman had the experience to know what to do, and he just said, okay, do this and this and this. There was no pause while you evaluated the several alternatives. He knew what to do.
Mm-hmm.
That comes from experience. We're not practicing experience. We're practicing theory. What are the alternatives before we can do anything? Are we still running on camera? Because I would like to mention, okay, the situation at Elliott Lake a few years ago when a building collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? 2 people were trapped. They tried to get to them and they realized it wasn't safe. The coordinator of the rescue operation pulled everybody back and stopped the rescue. Why? Because he didn't know what to do to make it safe.
Mm-hmm.
Mine rescue, if they had been there, they would never have pulled their people out while there's 2 breathing souls buried in there. They would have assembled the material to make it safe, and they would have worked their way into them because they knew from experience how to do it.
Yeah.
But the guy in charge of the rescue didn't. His only recourse was to pull everybody back and let those 2 people die. That's where we're at. We have people in those positions making those decisions. We're letting people die on the streets in Sudbury.
That's how we got made in Canada.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Hey, you don't like the things? Okay, you can commit suicide. We'll help you.
Yeah, and even down to the point now where they're offering it to kids under 16, and Quebec's offering to hide it from their parents. The teachers and mental health experts in Quebec don't have to share information with kids' parents anymore about it, and it's
Because they don't
I
know
don't
how
know if
to
that
deal
bill
with it.
passed, but it's getting scary.
But they don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
That's the situation we're in here in this city.
Even for the fiscally irresponsible, the fiscally irresponsible is where they're offering it too, and that's dreadful to think about too, because that's everybody at Energy Court right now.
Well, maybe just to close off on the event center, what we're trying to do downtown is say, okay, we want to rebuild Sudbury downtown to a busy, people active area. They don't know that that busy active area moved to New Sudbury many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to recognize that. I heard the new CAO say that, well, downtown Sudbury is the economic engine of the city. What kind of dope is she smoking? Sudbury downtown core has never been the economic engine of this city. That distinction lay with the Glencore, Falconbridge, and Inco mining companies and the rail companies.
Mm-hmm.
They were the economic engines, and they still are.
In a lot of ways, yeah. I'd say one other thing that used to be there that's probably not there anymore was the education system here. So our campuses, like Laurentian and Cambrian, used to be a huge draw, but I wouldn't say so anymore.
No. They're a draw, but they're not an economic engine.
Right.
Who pays for the people in those?
That's all taxpayer funded as well, yeah.
Okay.
When it comes down to it, like everybody on OSAP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's companies like Inco, Falconbridge, General Motors, Ford, steel companies. Those are the ones that are the economic drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're killing them. Literally.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we're into a weird situation in Sudbury here right now in that we're banking a lot on a recovery of the nickel market. Well, it isn't going to recover.
I mean, gold and silver have jumped up pretty fantastically.
That's just a value.
Yeah.
That's not what it does for the country.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it? What does gold do for your lifestyle?
For me, right now, it makes me frustrated.
Right. So does silver. Now, computers, and we're talking high tech, they use quite a bit of gold and silver because of the high electrical conductivity.
Yeah.
Okay. And the fact that they don't corrode very easy. Okay. So those are the two things. Those are the causes of using gold and silver in a computer. Okay. The effects are they don't get corrosion on their electrical connections, and they get high conductivity through those connections.
Yeah.
That's the effect. But now you know the cause and the effect. Okay. So if you want to close off, go for it.
Well, that's pretty much all we wanted to wrap up with the city. We don't just have to, just because there's a lack of video doesn't mean we can't keep going with the audio.
Okay.
It's like I
We
said.
could also swap out if you wanted to download minicams or just take a video. We could swap out your phone as well.
It's okay there. We'll keep the conversation rolling. When it came down to, I guess the energy court and the homeless issue was more Bob's court in terms of that, but you probably got a lot to say about it as well.
Oh, of course. If you want to solve those problems, you have to go about it and find out the cause.
Mm-hmm.
What is the cause of the homelessness? And nobody's even looking for it.
No.
And you can say, oh, well, they're all the same thing. No, they're not. There's 4 separate situations in the homelessness. And maybe Bob has already spoken to it, but one is the people who are out of work and can't find work.
Yeah.
Therefore can't afford to keep a home. That doesn't have to be treated the same way as a drug addict.
Yeah.
All right? And shouldn't be. They shouldn't even be lumped in with them. There are easy methods to make sure people have an income, okay, that can afford to live in as a home, not a house. We have a housing shortage. Well, no, we have a home shortage when it comes to the downtown people.
Yeah, they've taken everywhere they have to live.
Right. What is the second group of people in that?
Well, it'll be the addicts, right?
Well, let's stay very simple at the beginning. The second one that causes the most harm is we have the criminal element.
Right.
Okay? And much of that criminal element is from forces outside of our city. Okay? They come into town, and I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and he said, well, you know, they're going to be policing the downtown better. They got more officers on bicycles. I said, oh, so the drug dealers come in on their motorcycles, sell drugs to the dealers here, and then the police on bicycles are going to chase them out of town?
Yeah.
Come on, somebody didn't think this through at
No.
all.
We actually just did a piece about this the other day, considering the rising shoplifting in Sudbury. It was 40% repeat offenders and 30% outsiders.
Yeah.
That was some of the numbers that were being reflected there. So it's people that are already been doing this for years and years and just willing to do it because we have no persecution and we have no proper punishments for these people. The catch and release program is failing us in that aspect. And then the other aspect was people coming up from Toronto and doing shoplifting tours.
Mm-hmm.
Shoplifting tourism, essentially. They come up by bus or by car, by van load. They do their deed and they go back down south, and it's no trace of it. And one of the primary targets for that kind of shoplifting is vehicle theft at that point. They just move the vehicle, sell it to Dubai or somewhere.
Well, that comes back to a major problem with our schooling in all of this. We talk about education as being something that you get in schools and universities and colleges, okay? They don't even know what education is anymore.
I agree.
Okay? Education is you finding out the consequences of your actions. Okay? If you steal something and you get away with it, or you get a slap in the hands and you can do it again, you just got educated to the fact that you can do this all the time. Right?
Yeah.
Okay? But however, if the first and second times that you try that, you get severely punished for it, are you going to do it a third time? And a good example, a drinking driver. If a guy is half inebriated and he gets in an accident, first time, okay. He gets away with it, he'll do it again.
Mm-hmm.
However, if after a second case, you seize his car and crush it, do you think he's going to do it a third time?
Probably not. I mean, it begs a good question, like what were the rates of pickpocketing and thievery when they cut off people's hands for it?
Right. Now, I've been to other countries. I've been to Mexico, I've been to Chile, I've been to Iran, I've been to England, different places around the world as part of my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, when I was in Chile, the amount of crime is next to nothing. And do you know why?
Harsh punishment?
Well, first of all, there's no unemployment.
Interesting. Everybody's got farmers' work to do. Everybody has something to do there probably for the sake of survival.
And if you find out that you don't have a job and you can't get employment, guess what? You're in the military. You've got a job.
Okay.
There is no police forces. Everything security-wise in Chile, when I was there, was run by the military.
I actually didn't know Chile was autocratic.
Yep.
Okay. And
Okay.
I know as far as work goes, they're huge on port business. Like, there's harbors all along it.
I've been in Iran. In Iran, I've stayed in construction sites. And in those construction sites, there's no locks on the door. You don't need locks. Nobody's going to steal from you. Why? Because the first time, your left hand's gone. Second time, this hand's gone.
Yeah. Everybody needs
Guess
their
what?
hands.
You're not going to steal with no hands.
Yeah.
But that's an education process. Losing your left hand, you're educated now the consequences of your action. Are you going to do it again?
Oh, I'm sure there's somebody out there in Iran, though, that's got two stumps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, humans have this propensity, and it's astounding sometimes. But what are the rates in that kind of country?
And what do you do with those people otherwise? You let them still take advantage of everybody?
The other alternative is these people get better at not getting caught, right?
Not very often. Yeah. Humans have an inbuilt mechanism that says, I know I'm doing wrong, and you don't realize it, but you always leave clues that you are the one that did it. Cold cases, 30 years old, they still go back and find the people guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They left clues. We all leave clues to what we did. It doesn't matter who you are.
Even if it's ego-driven.
It doesn't matter. They cannot cover their own necessity to be caught.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an inbuilt necessity. When I'm doing wrong, I want to get caught. You do.
That's part of the enticement of the rebellion, right?
Well, it's human nature.
Yeah.
When you were a child and you did something you knew was wrong, you probably left enough clues that your parents found you. Found out it was you.
That's why you have the grin going on, and you're getting ready to deal with the consequences of your actions and see if it was fun or not fun.
Right. And then you get educated. It
Yeah.
wasn't fun. I'm not going to do that again. When you touch your parents could teach you as much as they tried that a stove was hot. It was going to hurt if you touched it. But until you touched it, then you got education.
First-hand experience on that one. That was my first burn.
Right.
Yeah.
But you got educated.
Oh yeah.
Up till then, it was only information.
Yeah.
And I used to tell young engineers when we hired them, came into my area, I would teach them, hey, you've gone to university, you've been so-called educated, but what you've been doing is been getting information on how to make better decisions.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Now, with all that information, you're now in a world where you're going to get educated. And whatever you do with that information is either going to work or it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
If it isn't, you're going to find out very quickly. That will be your education. So if you take your approach on the basis of, okay, I got all this information, I've got to apply it correctly or I'm going to suffer the bad consequences.
Yeah.
And I've had to fire some people because of making the bad stuff. And they refused to believe that they were wrong. I actually had a guy with a PhD fired very innocently on my part, but I was in a meeting with, I think there was 6 PhDs in the meeting. This happened in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a problem, so I was hired to find a solution. I went to them with the solution, and they were all listening, and the one guy said, well, I disagree, I don't think this is going to work. I said, oh, well, why do you think that? Well, it doesn't matter why I think that, I have a PhD and I don't think it'll work. I looked at him, I said, well, why are you telling me about your accomplishments from 30 years ago? What have you done since?
Yeah.
He got absolutely furious and left the meeting. Okay? And when we went for lunch, the other guys walking towards the restaurant stopped me and said, we want to thank you. That guy needed to be told that, but we can't do it because we're peers. Anyhow, we got back to the office. The guy quit over it. And I know the owner. I said, George, did you get me out here to get that guy to quit? Well, I said, George, you sneaky bugger. He did. He knew I would call the guy out.
And he was just pompous enough to fall apart from that one.
Yep. So, you have to look at these situations and what is the cause and what is the effect. Well, the cause was he was dishing what I was suggesting with no reason.
Yeah.
So the effect was I responded and said, hey, if you haven't got a reason, don't talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
He got upset because I disregarded his PhDism, and he quit. Well, George saved himself a severance fee.
Fair enough.
He said, Tom, the cost of you coming out here the airplane, like they paid my freight or my travel expenses.
Yeah,
Everything
way
to go.
cheaper than a severance.
Oh yeah. He says, in fact, I can give you a bonus on your fee. But you look at the cause, and that cause for him was this guy was creating havoc in his company.
Right.
So he had to create the effect of getting rid of him at minimum cost. So he did.
Yeah.
It all boils
So you
back
just
to
need to
that.
call him out.
Cause and effect. It's and the effect downtown on our homelessness and that. Now we got through the jobless and we got through the criminal element. So let's talk about the addicts for a minute. Okay. Go back to the cause and effect. Okay. What causes somebody to be an addict?
Oh, easy access. A
No.
lot of different reasons. They could be led there by depression. They could be led there just by recreation.
No. Well, first of all, you're not born an addict. Okay? You may have a tendency towards addiction, but you're not born one. So how do you create an addict? Well, there's a medical reason. You get prescribed painkillers, and you get addicted to them. And even the slightest pain, you feel you need that painkiller again. And the next thing, you're addicted. We can cure that. All we have to do is change our medical practices to make sure that they don't get addicted. And we don't supervise it. A friend of mine had a stomach aneurysm out, repaired. They prescribed 100 Oxycontin pills. Or Oxycontin, what is the name? Anyhow,
Yeah.
for him.
Oxycontin.
Oxycontin. Anyhow, he got home, he called me, he said, Tom, what do I do? They gave me 100 of these pills. I said, well, you're in severe pain? He said, oh, God, no. He said, pain doesn't, I have a high tolerance. I said, well, then take him back to the druggist and let him deal with them. Okay? Now, what would have normally happens with a lot of people?
I could sell these.
Yeah, $50 a tablet. That's, oh my gosh, that's $5,000. Anyway, okay, so there's that addict. There's the addict who can't suffer the mental stress that they're having to deal with due to social conditions.
Yeah.
So they take something to hallucinate in a better world, if that's the right words.
Escapism.
Escapism, okay. And pretty soon that escapism becomes the total dime of their day.
Yeah.
And they are addicts. Well, those people, why are we letting them get to that point by our social pressures? We can address those social pressures if we look at the cause. And the third, final one just amazes me. And I heard it on the radio the other day. Anyhow, they were talking about a young lady who, it was in a court case in the paper. The young lady had been convicted of it, of doing something, driving while impaired by drugs. And so the judge asked her if she was still using drugs.
Right.
She says yes and no, just for recreational purposes now. Excuse me? You're using those kind of drugs for recreational purposes? Like, what's wrong with this person? The judge should have at that point said, well, you're sentenced to 6 months of psychiatric care because you got your priorities all wrong in life, woman. You want to get zoned out as a recreation? Come on. Now, if you're doing that deliberately. You're making a conscious decision. You need out, Jack? Conscious decision to get zoned out. But you also know at the same time that while you're zoned out, you're going to be doing things that you wouldn't normally do.
Oh, yeah.
And if that causes harm to other people, then you deserve to be punished for causing that harm, and pretty severely. because you're putting lives at risk.
There's a lot of people would argue there. It's definitely our right to be able to choose to zone out as a recreation, but it's not our right to be able to put lives at risk.
No, not at all. Or to kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's like somebody getting drunk in an accident and killing 2 or 3 people. You have a right to make the conscious decision to get drunk to kill those people? I'm sorry, you don't have that right.
No.
To me, anybody who gets drunk and kills somebody, I'm sorry, but to me that's manslaughter at the minimum.
At the minimum, absolutely.
Okay? Same with the drugs. If you consciously decide to go on that high, and you on that high get angry and shoot somebody, then I'm sorry, that's not a drug-related forgiveness. That's murder.
Yeah. And there was still a choice made, right? Ultimately.
Yeah, you made the choice. So there's your 3 addicts.
Then we're even given the choice to be able to do those things responsibly. Sorry to cut you off there. It's just a lot of people do, we would say, like they'll do it in the comfort of their own home, but it's the outliers that really dramatize the issue, right?
How do they know they're staying in their own home?
Not all of them do. That's where the responsible use comes in.
If
Well-
I may interject really quickly, there's a lot of professional industries where there's high rates of addiction, and those people aren't out on the street doing the same thing that you see from other demographics. And that you have people who are addicted to heroin and other opiates and
Lawyers,
cocaine,
yeah.
lawyers, surgeons,
Yeah.
officers of law enforcement generally.
Now,
usually
would you
take
like
those
to have a
places.
heart surgeon working on your heart, knowing he's a heroin addict?
There's a lot of reasons I don't trust the medical industry, but and that's definitely one of them, but not the prime reason.
So as long as we're prepared to let all that stuff go on, all we're doing is perpetuating the situation. We're not curing it.
We're not harboring a responsible society, right?
No. So we just covered every aspect, I think, of the homelessness. The people who do it to get relief from pain, and that's the doctor's fault. They should find a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have those who can't stand the mental stress of the social conditions.
And that encompasses the professionals too.
Oh yeah, it's not.
It's not a healthy behavior just because they're functional.
Oh heavens, no. And we've covered the ones who are doing it for recreational purposes, and we've covered the criminals.
Mm-hmm.
So all we have to do is recognize that those are the base causes and start addressing each one of those causes. And we used to have, and a good friend of mine used to run it, we used to have a casual labor pool.
Right.
People who couldn't find work registered at the casual labor pool with their qualifications and what they were capable of doing. And if a job came up, and you could call in to get a job done, and he would find the right one, and they'd go out and do the job and get paid for it. We can do that again.
Yeah, just turn with like those employment options or like YMCA, readdress some of those efforts.
Well, then I had on the tip of my tongue a minute ago, the Charity Center.
Yeah.
Okay? These are people who have a mental problem. Okay? They're making a good, productive life through that Jarrett Center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So why aren't we dealing with that? Dealing with that on the street?
Oh, didn't the Jared Center actually close down recently, this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also closed down all the mental asylums. We closed down all the poor houses. There used to be poor houses all over Ontario, where if you were poor, you went there.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it was on a farm, and you worked the farm, produced food to feed the people in the poorhouse, and you made also a small income to cover your personal expenses, but you had a place to live, you were warm in the winter, you had food, you had clothing. We've shut them all down.
Do you think this because we don't want to fund them, or do you think it's a lack of faith in community?
Neither. It's a lack of greed. In 1601, Queen Elizabeth I decreed that the aristocracy had a responsibility to take care of the poor. And within a few, not too many years, there were poorhouses coming up. They had debtors' prisons. If you had borrowed money and you couldn't pay it back, you went to that prison and you worked off what you owed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Those have all been closed. The poor houses, and this goes in a wide-ranging thing. We talk about the children in the schools, okay? You know, mass graves and all this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they haven't found any yet, but that's beside the point. The poor houses, many of the paupers that went into those houses were buried in graves with no name.
Right.
Okay? Because they died for whatever reasons. Maybe they got sick from an illness or whatever, but nobody knew their name, so they went to the paupers' graveyard. Okay? We can't do things like that today. I mean, what about their rights? What rights? You only get the rights that you earn. And it doesn't matter how you look at it, that is going to be the case. And you can do all this stuff. When they talk about your rights in court, 90% of those cases are awarding rights to be an independent individual and do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Well, I'm sorry, you don't have that right. Because if you do what you want and it interferes with somebody else, then you don't have that right. If it harms somebody else. You don't have the right to hurt anybody. Okay? Otherwise, hey, I have the right to shoot you. Who says I don't have that right?
And then we would devolve to the natural aspect of might makes right, right?
And we've already devolved to that.
Yeah.
We are there. And in a presentation I've got ready to go, I'd state that we've devolved to there. We've already done it. Like, law and order is no longer there. Law enforcement.
No, a lot of police officers that I heard speak on this subject are really upset with their position because of how prosecutors handle it, and there's no justice.
No, none whatsoever.
It's like these people get into the industry of being a police officer because a lot of times they genuinely want to help, and then they get jaded so quickly after they see their work just, catch and release.
And so, yeah, we've devolved to that.
Or even just the perceptions that police have against them from the public. It's hard for them to want to do their job now when they're seen as the bad guy.
Yep.
And they're just trying to do good.
Well, yeah. And, it goes to the court. The judge says, oh, no, this guy, his rights were violated. You shouldn't have spoken to him that way, therefore they throw it out of court. Mm-hmm. Come on. Why does it take 2 years to have a court case?
Well, right now they're still claiming that it's a backlog from COVID.
That's bull.
That's what I say, still claiming.
That's bull. Backlog from COVID. Why is there a backlog from COVID? Because they set a bunch of people who were in prison free on the streets. Okay.
And a lot of people just stopped doing their jobs, period.
Yeah. Like, no, it just... But anyhow, that's getting into a deep philosophical situation as opposed to civic duty.
I'm still happy to talk about that any other time too.
Yeah.
But civic duty's the topic of the day. So.
Yeah, and civic duty, we don't demand any responsibility or accountability from our councillors and our mayor. My position with them is very simple. And I've sent them a registered letter on this. 8 simple things regarding the event center. Okay? What's the need? Okay? They haven't answered. They haven't even responded. The second thing, what is the market area? Do you know what the market area for that event center is?
They're probably trying to pull in pretty much most of Northern Ontario.
From the Quebec border to the east shore of Lake Superior, and from Sudbury to the Hudson Bay shoreline.
Pretty big area.
That's 35% of Ontario.
Yeah.
Okay? And 75% of that has no roads.
Yeah, that's right. It's all flying.
Okay? That's the market area that they've specified in these reports.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
So yeah, they're not going to capture anything from down south.
No. And they state that. The engineering companies stated that they're don't look for any tourism from south to support this because it ain't there.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. They'll just keep going to the Air Canada Centre or wherever.
Then, to entice companies to come in and build next to the event center, something, they're going to promote Sudbury as a core of everything within a 2-hour radius of Sudbury to come to. Well, 2 hours includes North Bay, it includes Espanola, it doesn't include Sault Ste. Marie, it includes Parry Sound, but wait a minute. The other part of their report said nothing south of Sudbury.
So, Parry Sound.
Parry Sound's not in. So you got this little bubble, Sudbury, and 300,000 potential clients for whatever company builds there. No, that's a population number.
Yeah.
And this is something that people forget. Population of Sudbury at 170,000 only has 80,000 taxpayers, property taxpayers. Okay, so that's this bill of 400 million is going to be burdened on those 80,000 people. Figure out how much that they owe.
Yeah.
Then they come out with numbers that say, well, the national debt is $3,000 per person. Okay, so you go to a family with 4 children, husband and wife. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, using my digital computer. That's 6 people times 3,000. Excuse me, that's $18,000 that household owes in national debt.
Mm-hmm.
That one household. So the only way they can do that is if every person living is a wage earner and a taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
And that ain't going to happen because children aren't going to pay tax.
They can try.
Once you're old and can't earn a living, how are you going to pay the taxes?
Yeah.
Okay? So you have to look at it and say, okay, well, Sudbury's only got 80,000 people who are going to pay for this event center. Divide 400 million by 80,000.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a big bill for all these 80,000 taxpayers in Sudbury.
Yeah.
And they'll never be able to repay it.
Yeah, 30 years, Sudbury might not even be around if they're going to drain us that hard.
Wow, that's interesting. Part of my presentation that I've got ready to go is are you familiar with the Astrodome in Houston, Texas?
I'm familiar with the place, yeah.
You've heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay. In 65 it was built, 1965 it was built. It was the future of sporting events and everything else, okay?
Mm-hmm.
In today's dollars, that would have been $700 million to build it. 66,000 seats, okay? By 1997, the last sporting event was held in the Astrodome.
Mm-hmm.
2009, it was condemned. In 2012, and again in 2024, proposals were made to spend $1 billion to repurpose it. The people in Houston have said no.
Like over and over again?
Yes. And that building will eventually get knocked down. Do you know how many other sporting event centers, venues there are around the world in that same position?
I don't.
It's massive. Take every Olympic site. How many of the sporting events in the Olympics have actually been of benefit to the communities?
TV and internet would have pretty much killed that,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
There's no international tourism necessity. It's like people can just tune in on the internet.
Oh, and you can just go to Toronto or Montreal.
Yeah.
The Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Well, it's been repurposed a few times now, but the total cost of that thing is unbelievable. But let's go to Toronto. They built a velodrome for cyclists, imported lumber from Russia to make the track. Okay? That velodrome is still in operation at loss to the province every year. Okay? For maybe 50 people who, well, let's say 100, who go there to race bicycles and practice racing so they can compete in the next Olympics.
It's just a practice hub now, yeah.
We're paying for that. We're still paying for it, and we will be paying for it for the next 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Well, you're making me think of the Ontario Place disaster as well.
If something can be done within the community, by the community, fine. It will be of value to the community. But when you get these big sporting events, and we're... I should tell you about a conversation I had. I had a salesman while I was working at Inco. I had a salesman come in from Monsanto, and he had a young lad with him. Okay, so anyhow, and Sam was quite a good salesman, very sound mentally. Anyhow, we went for supper, and the young lad was saying, "Well, you know, you guys are killing your national sport." I said, "Excuse me?" "Well, the Ottawa, they don't want to build a new arena for their hockey team." I said, "No, but that's not killing our national sport."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our kids are still playing hockey. We'll get to that regarding the city of Sudbury, though, in a minute. But I said, "Tell me something." I said, "Do you make $100,000 a year?" "Oh, no way." I knew he didn't. He was, okay. I said, "Well, then obviously you're not making $1 million a year." "Well, no, of course not." But I said, "You're prepared to give part of your money to allow these hockey players to make $2 and $3 million a year. You're prepared to pay for their workplace that they come to once a week at the most. They practice, but they only come to entertain once a week or so. And you're prepared to give part of your salary for that purpose." "Well, there's other benefits." I said, "No, there aren't."
No, it's just recreation. It's bread and circus.
But I said, "I'll tell you what, I'm grateful to you. Because by you spending your money to build that arena for them, I can watch the game on TV and it hasn't cost me a penny." Sam turns to the guy and he said, "Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. If you want to watch your money, you're going to listen."
Mm-hmm.
But we're caught up in this fantasy world.
Yeah.
So facilities, if an arena in Sudbury, if it's needed for the Sudburyans, I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah, if it's for the Sudburyans, it works. Like I can say in Chelmsford, since the arena's been open, like I think it opened 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
For public skating, it's been pretty much packed consistently every night for different events, whether it be hockey, a dance, public skating, something.
And you know why it isn't in all the other arenas? Because the city schedules who gets to use the arenas.
Okay.
They don't want the Levac arena to run. So, believe it or not, my grandsons who live out in Whitefish, the other side of Lively, were playing on the hockey teams in Lively.
Right.
Do you know where their home ice was?
Don't say like not near Cartier or something.
It was in Levac.
Levac, okay.
Their home ice was in Levac. So these kids, to practice and whatever else, had to go all the way to Levac when the Tom Davies Arena is right in Lively.
Yeah.
Because the city was scheduling something else in the arena. That's not for the community.
No. And I actually didn't know that's how they worked. I thought a lot of these arenas were actually individually managed.
No, not for bookings.
Huh.
No.
And so the cantinas and stuff and the businesses that exist inside those are also all city managed in that case too.
Oh no, they're on contract.
Okay, well, on contract.
They contract that out For example, all the advertising boards in the arenas in Sudbury.
Yeah.
The contract for those advertising boards lies with Burgess, the guy that used to own the Wolves. He
Right.
still has that. Okay? So the money from that advertising isn't going to the arena, it's going to him. And he pays a license fee to the city, but he gets to keep the lion's share.
And that's really bizarre. You'd think if they wanted to make the arena flourish, they would let the advertising space belong to the arena.
Absolutely. And the venue and the canteens and the anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Out in Capriol, they had a guy who used to sharpen skates. Okay, he'd do it for $2 a pair. The city forced him out because every other skate sharpener in the city, downtown area, was charging, I think, was $8 or $10 a pair,
Yeah.
and he wasn't doing that. This is for the
Well,
community.
how do they force him out of a free market in that sense?
They
Like, did he
wouldn't-
have a shop? Like a.
They wouldn't let him operate within the arena.
Oh, right. He couldn't show up and work.
So he still does a bit of it at home. But, if you're at the arena and there's a skate sharpener there, what are you going to do? You're going to go out to this guy's place?
Wouldn't he have been able to park outside the arenas with his truck?
Where? He's doing a business on a city street.
You're right. You're right.
Oh, no. Anyhow, we're way off topic, I guess.
No, just trying to find a clever way to help this guy. Somebody's driveway right beside the arena. There we go. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to have but then do you have a business license?
Yeah, for that location and
No, because that's a residential.
yeah. So
No.
there's where they can hang them up still.
Which is weird because I have my own business and I do it out of my home.
Right.
But there's no people come to my home. I do it on contract to people. And I go to their place.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's allowable. I even get to write off part of my house.
Yeah, that is the perk to having the home office, right?
But there's another sore point. Why are people allowed to work at home when they're working for a corporation or a business like the city?
Where the public representation is demanded, yeah.
That doesn't matter. If I'm running a business and they don't want to work in my building, then they won't be working for me. Because I want to see that they are being productive.
Yeah.
And I want to see that they know what they're doing.
And the world's been shifting back to that very gradually. Like a lot of people went to the remote work and everything, but now that's all moving back. People want their work culture, in-office culture back.
Except our government.
Except government, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the CRA was mostly called back too, if I recall.
Yeah, the CRA was, but the local, like we have 500 people working from home at the city.
So from Tom Davies.
Yeah.
And that building's just lit up every night because janitors are cleaning it for what?
Well, about 1,200 people, and when it's designed for 2,000 or over 2,000.
So half those offices are just vacant right now.
Yeah.
And that brings me to another thing I was making a point of. One of the things I've noticed is there's a lot of homeless people camping out under the welfare building. That's one of the places they should be, if anything. That place has the ability to host them, and that's where the civic duty is. Those are the people that should be seeing the people that are struggling on the streets every time they walk into work, people working at the welfare office. It's like that's taxpayer funded building. And
You raised an interesting point there. The working from home.
You came loaded with a binder of readiness.
Oh, this has got my presentation in it. But I'll show you something that the city in 2019 went out and had a study done on the market sounding of building downtown. And what you said just clicked in.
Set off an alarm for you. And that was about the welfare office.
No. It's about the working from home.
Oh, sorry. So I mean, 500 people in Tom Davies. Probably all the people that are paid the best too. So I could be wrong, but why wouldn't they take the chance to abuse that?
In their report to Council, the impact of COVID-19 and the rise in work from home has negatively impacted office use, resulting in higher vacancy rates, lower rents, and as a result, eliminating the profitability of developing offices.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to kill malls that rent out suites.
And they had this in 2019. And they went ahead with the working from home.
Yeah, they already knew the repercussions.
Absolutely. And they didn't care. Now, keep in mind, those empty office buildings, they don't pay as much taxes.
Right. So
Okay?
it counts as an investment property, sort of.
And there's many, many offices in the downtown Sudbury. In Toronto alone, there's over 20,000 condominiums empty. And we have a housing crisis?
No, a lot of people have been shifting up here too, and we don't have the places to accommodate the people from down south.
Sure we do. They take the money from selling their place in Toronto. The property right next door to me, it's 3 acres, 3-bedroom home, single floor, their own well, their own septic system, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Recently went on the market because the owner passed away. And what do you think they got for the property? Make a wild guess.
When did they sell, sorry?
Hmm?
When did they sell, sorry?
This summer.
This summer. Fine.
There's no sewer, no water out there. All we get is garbage collection.
I'm gonna guess between $50,000 and $70,000 for just a vacant lot that you can develop.
It has a 3-bedroom house on the lot.
3-bedroom house. Okay, we're looking more up around 400 then.
$480,000. And no services.
Yeah, no services.
We're on Hydro 1 out there, not City Hydro. So we don't get the City Hydro rates. Road maintenance is next to nothing. And they still paid, because he lived in Toronto, they sold their house there. They got close to $1 million for it down there. So he bought up here. And he loves it up here. He loves living out in the bush.
Yeah, it's a lot more quiet from down there. There's enough problems down south right now that I'm in, even with the younger communities, like I'm in a hip-hop community, a lot of people from Toronto that are into even the urban hip-hop culture are saying that it's too dangerous and they're trying to get out and spread out around Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly, again, outsiders, repeat offenders.
Yeah. No, our governments are all totally messed up.
So, from your engineering perspective, how do you fix this with the youth? What do you think?
Which part of the youth?
To get civic engagement with the people where it matters the most. Probably the people right now that are just starting civics and careers, grade 10 to just all the way up to college. How do we get those people back into this so that we can shift?
Well, Councillor Vagnini started that when he was first elected in 2015. We made up a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation for presenting to grades 5 and 6 students in elementary school. Defined what the different levels of government were and how they function and all that. And we actually got it approved by the superintendent of schools to make the presentations in the schools. Okay. In doing that, first of all, one of the things we discovered very quickly, and it surprised me, the city got all upset because he was doing that. And we already have one, so I got a copy of the one the city had. And do you know what the primary role of councillors was in that presentation?
Well, what did they have it as?
Passing bylaws. I'm serious. That was the only role that they talked about for councillors in that presentation.
So, rehaul on the education and how people even view the roles.
Now,
It's a good start.
we went to, I forget how many schools now, I made the presentation. And the grades 5 and 6 are a lot more in tune than you might think they are.
Oh yeah, I know. I've noticed the younger
Okay.
generations are all checking in.
Oh boy. Of anybody, those grade 5 and 6s had tougher questions for him than any of the adult groups we did in town halls.
That's
Okay.
for some reason doesn't surprise me though. It's like with you see it on YouTube all the time now. Politics has become pop culture.
Now, the other thing that came out of it very clearly was the some of the senior kids, I guess grade 10 was the highest level we went to, asked, well, how come this isn't taught in school? And it isn't.
It's a good question to ask. Maybe ask your teachers.
Yeah. And it isn't taught in schools.
Yeah.
And something that shocked the LaSalle Secondary grade 10, we had the presentation and that. At the end of the presentation, Michael says, well, he says, I guess you guys want to get back to your cell phones and all that, eh? Oh, yeah, and they all had their cell phones with them, eh? So I said, well, just before we break up, I said, you guys are all into this new high-tech stuff, eh? Oh, yeah, it's great, it's great. I said, well, when do you think that technology was invented? Anybody want to make a guess? Oh, maybe 2000. I said, no, not right. Well, 1970. No. Nobody, this was beyond their thinking, okay? Finally I said, well, you're never going to guess it. I said, you guys are familiar with the binary system. Oh, yeah, we know that. That's what these are based on. I said, okay, well, that was invented in the mid-1800s. What? They turned to the teacher. Mid-1800s? He said, yeah, Mr. Price is right. Oh. Well, are you sure?
It developed over like 40, 50 years until eventually we had encryption and the Germans sophisticated it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I said, so that's when the binary system was invented in the mid-1800s. But as far as the computer itself and the computer chips and that, when do you think that was invented? Oh. Well, we don't know. I said, right. All the stuff that goes into your cell phones and that, the computer chips and that, started to be developed and invented in about 1940, 1945, somewhere in that range just before the Second World War. Is he right?
Yeah,
I'll give the teacher credit. He knew I was right, okay? He said, oh yes, yeah. Well, this isn't new technology then. Teacher said, no, all it is miniaturization of what was developed back then.
Yeah, it's like hyper sophisticated version.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take a look at technology development and what was developed when, you'll find that between about 1830 to 1840 and 1950, there was all kinds of major technological developments. After 1950, it dropped off, and all we've done is make things smaller, more concise. The technology has not progressed.
I'm glad you brought this up too, as I tell people all the time, like the late Victorian era to up to World War II was peak human civilization.
Right on.
That's where all of our best advancements were. That's where the craziest amount of technological innovation was. Like when you look at the Victorian era itself, like towards the back end of it, the amount of freedom that people had to invent things allowed us to get where we are today to the point. And then it wasn't until the letter agencies started getting involved with government and after the World War that they tried to control and shut down society so that, well, eventually those things never happened again and nobody would supersede the power of those that were in power now. like the checks and balances were put there with the UN, the League of Nations.
Oh, the freedoms are just. I was at a metallurgical conference in about 1995, and the CEO of BHP Billiton, which is a huge mining company, metals company, had the keynote address. And during coffee break, he happened to be in front of me getting the coffee and was chatting with me. And he says, "You know the biggest problem that we have at BHP?" I said, "What's that?" He says, "Well," he says, "to get people to think outside of the box." I said, "Why is that a problem?" "Well," he said, "we want them to do some free thinking." I said, "Well, in that case, why did you build the boxes?"
Yeah.
"What do you mean?" I said, "Well, didn't you insist that you have business or company standards for some things, company regulations on other things?" Oh my God.
Yeah, you built all the boxes and put them and sorted them.
I said, "You put them in the boxes. To get ahead, they had to comply within those boxes. So what did you expect would happen?"
Mm-hmm.
"I got a lot of work to do when I get home." I said, "Well, if you want people to think outside the box, take the box away.
Yeah.
Let them be creative. You can still monitor what they're doing. You can still keep an eye on what's progressing, but get rid of the boxes."
Mm-hmm.
All these bylaws of the city, they're just boxes because they can't be enforced. Like,
Now they're going to hire more bylaw officers to try and cure it.
well, you can't. We've got so many bylaws. Like, they pass 20 to 30 bylaws every council meeting.
And how
So many of them conflict with each other too.
Absolutely.
If people had the money to fight these things in court, that's what they're banking on, that people don't have the time or money if they did.
Yeah,
A lot of them are money generators.
yeah. And that's what you're fighting all the time.
They're bringing in crazy amounts of money
Yeah.
with all these little bylaws.
Yeah.
I ran across in one of my projects on Bancroft Drive. I met with the guy from transportation it was for the lot split. Because he had said they passed a bylaw, no more lot splits.
Okay.
Bancroft Drive. And I said, "Well, why?" I says, "This part of Bancroft Drive, whatever traffic was down there has already turned off onto the Kingsway. Because this is the far end." And I says, "This is more like a country road. There's hardly any traffic. What's the need for it?" That's the way it is. I goes, "So if there's no need for it," it goes, "why are you going to, you should be scrapping it."
Yep.
He says, "No, we're not going to get rid of it." You know? So to get around it, I had to apply to the Committee of Adjustments for a minor variance, which cost me over $1,000 for them to say, yes, you can do that.
Yep.
So they've got all these bylaws, which you contravene if you were to do anything. You know, you're going to contravene a bylaw, you have to go ask permission, and it's going to cost you money.
So I wasn't wrong to think that all the bylaws that we have in Sudbury are kind of weird compared to other cities.
Oh, they're totally out of order.
So we have
90%
so
of them.
many of them for such weird reasons, even down to the use of using public parks and other public spaces. Like I was like, this is overbearing.
We are so over-regulated, it is unreal.
Yeah.
But they raise sick amounts of money. I knew this, one of the CAOs, and I called him, and I says, "I want to buy you breakfast." So he came out, I bought him breakfast, and I went over the issue that I was having with him.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Jack, I understand." He says, "You're right, you don't understand, you're logical, but," he says, "my hands are tied." I says, "I can't do anything." I says, "What do you mean? You're the CAO." He says, "No, financially, you have no idea how much money these guys are bringing in with all these little bylaws.
Yeah.
And because of the money they're bringing in, they did that." But he was an honest CAO. I think it was within a couple of years after that, you know, they announced that he was leaving.
And that's the tertiary level of taxation.
And he went, and of course he got snapped up by Burlington, you know. But because he was honest, well, you know what city bureaucracy is like. they found a way finally to push him out.
Yeah.
And by this time, he knew how corrupt the city was. He just left Sudbury altogether. Gone.
I've been trying to get people thinking. Every penny that the city spends comes from your pocket as a taxpayer. Every penny.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether they get it from the federal government, from the provincial government, whether they get it from organizations, whether they get it from water bills. It doesn't matter. It's all taxation.
Do you mind if I ask a question real quick? It
Sure.
might be a good springboard. As you were talking about someone who was doing all this stuff anyway, and left Sudbury because they got so demoralized over all of it. What might you say to people who would suggest that that's just the end result, and so therefore why bother trying? 'Cause there's probably a lot of people who are really pessimistic, and you guys are here and you're still trying, so there's clearly something that motivates you guys, right?
Age.
Well, my wife has a favorite.
My son, who is now 41, when he first started working with me, well, this would have been about 15 years ago, he was dealing with the city over something, and he came up, he said, "Dad, why don't we just sell everything and move out to British Columbia? Just get rid of everything." He was just frustrated with the city. So even though he was young, his thought was, let's get it out of here.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's why we're trying to get the youth interested.
I like to say, because people always say bad things happen to good people, and it's something people always lament about, just on general. And I always like to say there's a reason, because if bad things only happen to bad people, the bad things would only get worse. And good people are the only ones who will see something bad happening and try and turn it into something good.
Well,
So I level with you on that.
Young people do need to get involved in this.
I would tell those people that they're wrong. The bad things happen to everybody, not just to good people.
That's true too, yeah.
The difference is the good people know the difference. Okay?
But this is where young people have to get involved. You get a lot of cities like you take North Bay, you take Barrie, Burlington, a whole bunch of cities. For them to operate, the cost of operating the city is about $2,500 per person. In Sudbury, last I heard, it was $4,950 per person.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially double. And Sudbury, and city staff says, well, it costs us more because we're so far spread out. Well, Tom lives out in the bush. He's already mentioned what services he gets from the city.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing that we're so spread out, is just a bunch of BS, because they don't spend any money on Tom. They pick up his garbage and that's it. Which he was disposing of his garbage before anyway. But he was paying half the taxes that he is now. So prior to amalgamation, he's paying half the taxes, his garbage is picked up, he's fine and dandy. Now he pays twice the taxes.
And when they reassess the properties in my area, because this guy paid $480,000 for his
gonna go up
property,
some more.
my taxes are going to go up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now, in that respect, you were talking about composting earlier. Okay. 90% of the people out where we are compost on their own property. But they would still send the compost truck around to pick up their compost material. And not only that, Waste Management complains that people aren't contributing to the composting program. Why would I send my compost material to the city dump? I've got 9 acres of land. I have a garden that's almost an acre. Guess what I can do with my compost material? Put it in my garden.
People in the city don't compost because they're forced to keep the smelly stuff inside their houses for a couple of weeks. But they won't change the garbage pickup system that they've had in use in Sudbury for ages and ages and ages, even though society has changed. But if they were to change the system, that would mean a loss of jobs at City Hall. And that is their number one priority, is their jobs, protecting their jobs.
Yeah. That's
They will not modernize, they will not change. If you want people to compost and you want to recycle, you have to give them an opportunity that they can dispose of the compostable and recycling stuff without it becoming a smelly stuff in their house.
Yeah.
It starts becoming smelly stuff, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, when they reduced our garbage bags, it became a disaster. There's houses all over the place now with massive piles of trash outside.
But they will not do it because they're going to lose jobs.
No, the blue box is another one.
Yeah, they stopped giving out blue boxes.
Well, a lot of people out in the outer areas, we all do our own preserves. We use, you're all familiar with the mason jars?
Mhm.
Well, everybody out there reuses those mason jars for 20, 30 years. Not a can.
Yeah.
Not a freezer bag. But they reuse those for a long time. Like, we've been out there 50 years. And we still do our preserves. We grow the carrots in the garden, we preserve them. We have our own carrots all year round. Our own beans, our own sweet corn, our own beets. And we preserve them.
Mm-hmm.
But none of those containers get disposed of because they're reusable.
Yeah.
Okay? And we do, besides which, food's a lot better. But anyway,
nutrient-wise, absolutely.
But I've actually been asked by people, well, how come you don't put out so much blue box? What are you doing with the blue box material? We don't generate it.
Reminds me of what I like to say about the everyone likes to talk about the plastic straws, paper straws thing. It's annoying to me too, but something I've pointed out early on in that is, it's funny to me that when I was a kid, we were talking about, oh, save the trees, let's start making things out of plastic and reuse our plastic containers. And now no one reused the plastic containers, so we're like, okay, we gotta start killing trees again because the plastic is ending up in our bloodstream. There's we missed the point on both of those.
And you know something?
You know.
All of them are made from the wood products. They're all cellulose.
Yeah, it's still made from paper pulp at the end of the day.
Yeah. And cellulose doesn't break down.
Propaganda, ultimately.
Cellulose fiber it's a long life material. The half-life, I don't know what it is on cellulose, but it's a natural product. Okay, so and it's like one of my wife's friends is a teacher, and she was commenting about, well, the single-use plastics we got to get rid of and all that. And I said, okay. So, tell me something. What do you put your garbage in? Well, what do you mean? A garbage bag. I said, oh, so how many times have you used it? Oh my God. I said, yeah. Oh my God is right. And guess what? They even want us to put it in a kitchen garbage bag that we put in a overall garbage bag to go to the dump. Yeah. There's no common sense in it at all.
No. It's been excellent probing your thoughts so far. We're just hitting 2 hours now. About.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted to wrap it up on anything here, I think we can get Bob in on the next one with you to start hitting city council.
Sure. And this has been a wide-ranging one. I don't think you'd have a podcast for 2 hours. So you need to keep them shorter or people won't watch the whole thing. Yeah?
Oh, we'll have it clipped up and reeled, and we'll be putting the full version out, no cuts.
Okay. Okay.
So it's actually the dominant form of media ingestion right now. I would say is like people like long form conversation. They want to know the depth. They want to know how. They don't want to see cuts.
Oh, okay.
Cuts
That's for
actually
sure.
work well for advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they want to see the rest of it. They're like, oh, what context are you cutting out?
Yeah.
Well, let's see where the original link is.
Yeah, no, people are desperate for long form conversation, especially when it comes down to subjects like these. This is because city council won't give you that.
No.
You have a 5-minute timer and they won't even answer you.
No. Well, yeah, and I told them that at City Hall. This is a few years ago now. They actually have a stoplight in council chambers. I don't know if you've seen it. Seriously?
I have. You can see it in the videos on like
Oh yeah.
they stream online as well. You
Because
can see
so
the
many
stoplight.
minutes before your time is up, the orange light comes on, and your time's up, it's red light, and that's the end of it.
They don't even have the courtesy to be like, your time's up.
So I was asked to do a presentation, and I said, on one condition. What's that? I said, that stoplight is pre-kindergarten type signaling.
Yeah.
Get rid of it, and I'll present. As long as it's up there, I won't. I know how to regulate my time, and I know what I need to say and how to say it.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't need a stoplight to limit my time. Well, we have to regulate that. I said, that's fine. Do it for somebody else. Well, so you're not gonna? I said, no, I'm not. As long as you guys have that stoplight in the council chambers, don't expect me to present anything.
It is juvenile. It really is.
Oh, God, it's even less than juvenile. It's kindergarten. It's,
Yeah.
I watch a lot of town hall stuff from different places, and like I don't know if it's like prominently displayed here and it's just not elsewhere. But I know they have time limits, but I've never really seen like a stoplight like.
well,
No,
yeah,
me
so-
neither. I've just seen somebody
Never
have
seen
the
that.
decency to say, I'm sorry, your time's up.
Yeah, like all right, Mister So and So, you've got 30 seconds left. Just letting you know. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I can see a time limit if the person is wandering on about different subjects that are not related. But a conversation like we're having here today, where would you put the time limit on it?
Right?
Yeah,
You don't. That's why the long form conversations are working now.
right.
That's what won, a lot of people say that's what won Donald Trump the election, right?
Yeah.
It's all the long forms, like people like Charlie Kirk who are willing to go out and actually engage with youth and put them on the screen for 2 hours at a time.
Yeah.
People actually listen. You'd be
Well,
surprised.
Well, the thing is, if they're not gonna let, whether it's for the sake of time limits, like
Mm-hmm.
being efficient or whatever it is, if city halls aren't gonna allow people the platform to discuss, they're gonna go where they have one.
Mhm.
So, it's,
Yeah, I think you'd be surprised, Tom. Like our podcast with Bob, within 2 days of it being up, almost hit 1,000 views right away.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 days. It's like the YouTube right now. The YouTube channel itself has, I think one of them videos is 94 views, and the other is only sitting at 120 something. But the overall views on the Facebook page, that's where our main traffic is for Bob is up around 1,800, 2,000 just for that one video right now.
And as people get used to it, that will go up.
Yeah.
Okay. Future broadcast or podcasts will go up.
There's nothing like this in Sudbury, so getting a broader perspective, like aside from maybe Real Talk with Kevin Belanger, I don't know if you've watched that one. It's about real estate in Sudbury.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only podcast I can think that's really around here. So
Yeah, it's so sadly needed.
well, maybe if there's other podcasts that we don't know of, maybe they'll be watching this and they'll reach out. Never
Yeah.
know, and maybe they'll make their presence more known in that
start
way too,
showing
and
off.
we can
And
go from there.
at the university level, discretionary use of these podcasts should be a mandatory issue, because that's the age when the students are getting their first taste of adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and recognizing some of the stuff that we've been talking about today, I know will not get